and why we can't have nice things. About 2 days ago, I posted this video on a version of the so-called sugar diet. My version, what I've been doing for the last 5 years on and off. And while most of the comments, 120 plus comments we got on that video were positive, there were a lot of people telling me, you're doing it wrong. You're not doing it the way we're doing it. You're not eating enough sugar. You're not pounding table sugar. You're afraid of sugar. You're afraid of carbs. Typical, typical arguments that people with level 1 understanding, baseline understanding have. You see, the sugar diet, this trend will come and go, just like the keto diet, just like carnivore, a low point of all dieting trends. Even though it has so much merit, the sugar diet has a lot of merit, just as the keto diet has a lot of merit for people with epilepsy, people with mental health disorders. But for you, you're trying to get lean, you're finally trying to get rid of the love handles, the man boobs, the lower belly fat, and you're doing all these silly diets instead of graduating past level 1 understanding and using different instruments, different tools to get the results you always wanted. You see, it's not about following this diet camp or that diet camp, this guru or that guru. Or you're not doing it like Cole Robinson recommends. You're not doing it like Mark Bell. That's right. That's right. I'm doing it my way. I'm taking the things that work and I'm employing them in my unique situation, for my goals, for the results that I'm after. I'm not here to play this game for nobody else but myself. Because I know when I'm at my best, when I have the best results physically, in terms of performance, mentally, I can be a bigger blessing for my people. I can be of more help to my family, to my clients. I can be of more use to this world when I operate at a high level. So the sugar diet is nothing more than a tool that I use. And I call it sugar diet because it's trendy right now. It was actually the warrior diet, which came out in 2000. That's my concept of using it. Fruit throughout the day, couple pieces of fruit throughout the day, as you saw in that thumbnail. That's like one serving of fruit that I have throughout the day. And then one modest to large meal at night, depending on what I'm trying to do. Fruit throughout the day, regular meal at night. It's not a vegan meal. It's not a low carb meal. It's not a low fat, zero fat meal, the way some proponents argue you need to eat. I know exactly what I'm doing at this point. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this greatly. Now, another argument that I got in the video I uploaded 2 days ago was, that's not enough carbohydrates. That's not enough sugar. Your cells need sugar. Why would I load up my body with more sugar, with more carbohydrates, when I already feel amazing the way I'm doing it, when I'm already in incredible shape physically in terms of performance? Why would I do it according to somebody else's template or to somebody else's standards if I'm already seeing the results I always wanted to have? See, this is the problem with the dieting industry. This is the problem, the issue with all of you dieting bandwagon jumping people. This is now trendy. I'm gonna do this. Tomorrow something else will be trendy. You're gone. You're already doing the new thing without ever reaching the goals that you have. The goals that got you to start in this game in the first place. So, the reason I'm not pounding sugar is because there's no reason for me to do so. I eat my two, three, sometimes four pieces of fruit throughout the day, and I perform like $1,000,000. I look the way that I always wanted to look. I'm able to put out in my work, in my personal life, in my social life, across the board with hardly any limits. So why would I abandon this and do it according to somebody else's rule set? During Ryder, for instance. Who cares about During Ryder or whatever his name is? I am my own boss. And I've been at this for 20 years. I've made a lot of mistakes, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of mistakes. I've wasted many years spinning my wheels. I'm not going back to that. I know what works now, and I'm using strictly the tools that work. Intermittent and prolonged fasting. I still love that, even though now with the sugar diet, it's going to be less trendy. People will be afraid of fasting. Oh no, your cortisol levels will go up. Yes, I'm going to leverage my cortisol and use it to my advantage to perform at an even higher level. Oh no, you got to be fueling with sugar all day. You got to, load up on table sugar, candy, honey, maple syrup all day. No, I don't. And you know why? Because I know it doesn't work. For me, for my purposes, it doesn't work. Do you know what works? Waking up early, having a fabulous cup of black coffee, on an empty stomach, no sugar. I hate sweet coffee. And then go about my day, do my first workout fasted, and then after my workout, maybe have a piece or two of fruit, and then go another 2, 3, 4 hours with nothing, maybe another cup of coffee if I'm feeling frisky, and then have another piece or two of fruit. By the time I get to 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., I might have consumed 300, 400 calories. Some days more, most days even less than that. Why would I do it? Because it works. And I see no need to load up with more sugar, particularly with highly processed sugar sources that are now becoming trendy. See, this is the problem. People use concepts that actually work, they use them until they abuse them. That's why we can't have nice things. It was the same with low carb. That's right, low carb can work for short controlled periods. It was the same thing with intermittent and prolonged fasting. It works tremendously well if done responsibly. And it's the same thing with the sugar diet, which works wonderfully well if done responsibly. And this is something that most people cannot do. They have lost the ability to, number one, think critically. They have no common sense. And number three, they're food addicts. So they want this new diet to tick all boxes. I can lose fat on this. I can build muscle on this. I can maintain high metabolic function on this. But most importantly, for most people, I can stuff myself with this macronutrient or that macronutrient, with this food or that food, without having to think about anything, without having to take responsibility. This is what most of you people want, and this is why you never get the results that you're after. What's up, Custom X? Good morning. So one of the comments here from Draco Fitness is, you're already in shape. Lots of fatties that aren't and need to eat until they are satisfied. Why? See, this is the problem. This is the problem. Why would fatties need to eat all day and load up on sugar And this concept, brothers, that eating more will somehow get you leaner. No, you're not eating enough sugar. That's why you're not losing weight. What a pile of BS, bro. What a pile of horse shit to think that no, you're not doing it right because you're not consuming enough simple sugars to lose weight. It's not the calories, bro. You're just not eating enough sugar. Level one thinking. This is people who have never experienced, who've never really done this for long enough, never really worked with anyone, and are just watching YouTube videos all day and then giving out advice on the internet. No, brother. Fat people shouldn't be eating sugar all day. They should definitely cut down on their fat calories and maybe even their protein calories, but they shouldn't be pounding candy, table sugar, juice all day to be satisfied. Like, fat people should literally starve the fat off their bones. Do some prolonged fasting. Do some intermittent fasting. Why? Because that instills discipline. The kind of discipline they're going to need further down the line. The kind of discipline they need across the board, not just when it comes to their eating behavior. So no, that's definitely not the case. And again, that's the kind of thinking. And I know that Draco Fitness, he came to this just 2 weeks ago. He was in my comments telling me how the keto diet or the carnivore diet was a godsend, how it was the ultimate diet. And now he's jumping on the next bandwagon. Level one thinking. This is why we can't have nice things, because people can't think for themselves. They can't think for themselves. No critical thinking, no common sense, no experience in the game. The sugar diet is a huge opportunity. That's why I said in one of those videos, it will revolutionize the game, because some people will use it responsibly. Some people will use it with common sense, and they will get amazing results doing the sugar fasting or doing a less aggressive version of the sugar diet. I know for a fact it's gonna work tremendously well. But most people, that's right, most people who attempt this will fail, because they come at this with this mindset: how can I eat unlimited calories of X? How can I pound more sugar, more candy, more carbohydrates while still getting ripped, while still performing at a high level, while still managing my blood work? It's not gonna work. It's not gonna happen. That's right, calories still count, even if you don't count them. Thermodynamics override your dieting concept. It was the same people who were telling me when carnivore was up and coming, they said it's not about calories. You got to keep insulin low, not understanding that they were spiking their insulin with high protein meals every day. Those same people are now telling me you got to pound sugar. Your cells need more sugar. You're not doing it right. So, all I can tell you, bro, anyone watching, is graduate past level one thinking. Do not look at me. Do not look at Cole Robinson. Do not look at Mark Bell or other proponents of this diet and copy one to one what they're doing. You have your own situation, your own goals, your own lifestyle, your own habits. So take these things for what they are: tools, instruments, and use them to get the outcomes that you wanted. You want to do some sugar fasting twice, 3, 4 times a week, maybe, because you're on the heavier side? Great! Great! Eat your fruit, maybe some honey. I would say mostly fruit. Make it a fruitarian diet for the most part. And do that a couple times a week. The rest of the week, eat the way you want to eat. Eat a higher calorie diet, a higher fat, a higher protein diet. Eat normally if that's what you want to do. And don't fall into the trap that most people fall into of making this new diet, making this new lifestyle their identity. See, this is why you never see results long term, because you're always hopping from this to that diet. This is why you're such a pain to be around and why you don't have any friends in real life, because your identity is your diet. That's all you talk about. It's all about doing this diet, doing that diet. And people don't care. People do not care, believe me. I make a living as a nutrition coach, as a fitness coach. People don't care about these things. And here's the only exception: they will care when you have results to show. When you actually look the part, when you're actually ripped, when you're actually able to do things that are extraordinary, then people will come to you automatically. You don't have to rant about this diet or that diet that nobody really cares about, whether it's keto, whether it's carnivore, whether it's a vegan diet, whether it's a sugar diet concept. Nobody really cares, brother. What people want is not a new diet to follow, it's results. So you want to help somebody? You want to help your girl lose weight? You want to help your mother, a friend of yours, a family member of yours? You want to help them lose weight and actually get healthy? Start with yourself. Start with yourself. Get in incredible shape. Get in such good a shape that everybody you come across asks you, how'd you do it? How did you do it? And that's your shot. That's when you insert your dieting tactics, your strategies, your knowledge. That's when you tell them about how to train, how to conduct their day-to-day in order to lose weight and keep it off for life. Because this is what it's all about. And this is precisely why I say the sugar diet can revolutionize fitness. Because if used as a tool and if used responsibly, you can dip in and out of this diet as you need it. Meaning a couple days of the week, you can return to sugar fasting, lose weight, and keep it off for long term. For life, brother. This is a huge opportunity. So let's say 5 days of the week, you're already lean. You're already ripped. And 5 days of the week, you eat whatever you want. But on 2 days a week, you insert a sugar fast where you basically just eat carbohydrates. No, you don't try and eat as much as you possibly can. You don't try and eat 3,000 calories of pure sugar. No. You eat fruit until you don't want any more, until you're happily satisfied. You go about your day, you hit the gym, you go to work, you do the things that you have to do, and then the next day, you eat normally again. You do that twice a week, you can maintain a ripped physique with this for the rest of your days. Some people might have to tweak the ratio of higher calorie, normal dieting days and sugar fasting days. But this is it, brother. If you take this and you run with it responsibly, not like a fool, not like most people who will attempt this diet. How much sugar can I eat? How many carbohydrates can I eat while losing fat? You dummy. You're the reason we can't have nice things. Use it responsibly and the results will blow your socks off. Why? How do you know, Victor? Because I've done this as a hardcore version for years. A sugar fast is basically a fasting tool. Now, I'm doing something that's way more difficult, which is prolonged fasting. 48 hours without food, up to 72 hours sometimes. So I know I can manage my scale weight and my physical appearance just with prolonged fasting. I know you can manage your mirror image and control your scale weight with sugar fasting because they work very similarly. Even though people nowadays will say sugar fasting works better. Just you wait. Just you wait after the trend is going down again and people actually come to their senses again and realize no, actually eating no calories actually helped me lose more weight. It wasn't the fact that I was eating 3,000 calories of sugar that helped me lose weight. It was sugar fasting was just another tool to manage my energy intake because again, physics override your dieting preferences. Physics, specifically thermodynamics, reigns supreme. It's not this new diet that you're trying. So Che says 100%. I have a big fruit smoothie in the morning, work all day, and eat a pound of lean meat, veggies, rice, or potatoes for dinner, and seeing amazing results. Lost 4 pounds last week. That's, bro, wonderful. Wonderful. And that sounds like a very reasonable routine. That sounds like a routine I could explain to my mother and she'd be like, "Yeah, that sounds reasonable." Um, which would change very much if I tell her or anyone in my life or anyone with two brain cells to rub together, if I tell them I wake up in the morning and I pour 50 grams of sugar in my coffee because my cells need sugar. I wake up in the morning and I have like this giant smoothie of 2,000 calories and 500 grams of carbs. Doesn't make any sense. Take this lesson. If it does not make sense logically, if you can't rationally explain it to somebody, it's probably not a good idea. I'm not saying it's impossible that it will work, but it's probably not a good idea. And so use it responsibly and you'll get great results. Abuse it and you'll be just like every dieting victim, every carnivore dieter who's now doing the sugar diet. And just as they were raving about carnivore 2 months ago, 6 months ago, now they're raving about the sugar diet. And they'll be raving about a new diet 6 months from now, 2 years from now. There's a reason I've been doing what I've been doing for the last 5.5 years straight, which is basically one meal a day with some fruit eaten throughout the day. It works, and it is very easy to work into my lifestyle, into my very busy schedule, into my personal and professional responsibilities. It is very easy to do, and it gets me the results that I always wanted in terms of performance, physical and mental, in terms of the way my physique looks when I take my clothes off. That's what I'm in this for. I'm not in this to do this new diet, to make money off of this new dieting trend. I don't care, bro. If you do the sugar diet, if you intermittent or prolonged fast, if you're keto, I really don't care. I feel sorry for you if you're a low carb dieter, if you're doing keto or carnivore. I feel sorry for you because I've done that before and I know how miserable it is. I fell for that same BS before and I know in what a bad place it brought me psychologically and physically. No testosterone, bad mood, foul mood, very irritable, no stable energy levels. I don't want that for you. I know life can be a lot better for you, but it's not going to be doing another silly diet. It's not going to be following this new dieting guru. Now all of a sudden, Cole's the man. Now all of a sudden, Durian Rider is the man. People forget. People forget how Durian Rider would talk to people just 5 years ago, 10 years ago. What kind of psychological issues the guy has? Maybe caused by his diet. Maybe due to his diet. Maybe he's just a nut job. I don't know. And I'm not here to bash anyone. I'm not here to talk shit about anyone. Cole Robinson, I love the guy because he got me into prolonged fasting in the year 2000. Late 2019, early 2020 is when I started doing 72s, 48s, and they worked great for me, brother. They worked wonderfully well for me. They still do. They still do. You know why? You know why? Because they give me control. They give me control of my mental state. They give me control over my food. They give me control over my low level carnal desires. They put me in the driver's seat of my life. Fasting, that is. It's a huge mental level up. To be able to go days without food when left and right people are just falling over, bro, because they haven't eaten in 2 or 3 hours. Their energy is so low. They're so irritable. They're so moody. You're going 40 hours plus with no food. It's a massive mental level up, brother. So I'm never going to go away from that. Never. Even though people nowadays, they're going to walk away from fasting because sugar dieting proponents are telling them, no, you got to top off your cells with glucose. You got to eat more sugar. You got to eat more calories. When in reality, you just have to use the tools that work and use them responsibly. How do you do this with a sugar diet or a sugar fasting setup? Just like our brother Shea said, have some fruit throughout the day or a fruit smoothie, and then go about the rest of your day on maybe some more fruit or nothing. Get to later in the day and have a big meal, modest meal, depending on your appetite, depending on your level of body fat, depending on your activity levels. Derek O'Hara, sugar diet helped me lose 22 pounds this month. Awesome, Derek. Since you're here, brother, tell the people how you used the sugar diet. What was your setup to get to lose 22 pounds? That's massive. I'm curious. In any event, do not let this new dieting trend go down the same path of every other dieting trend, where people abuse it. They pound sugar, they pound candy, jelly beans, Sour Patch Kids. They pound soda pop. Bro, since when is soda pop a good idea? Since when is drinking liters of Coca-Cola a good idea? So Derek says, I stuck to fruits, juices, and smoothies. Some salad and veggies if I was craving greens. All right, Derek, did you have like a proper meal at the end of the day, or you just stuck to sugar fasting for the most part? There you go, Andre. So our brother Andre says, true. I was the man yesterday night at a party, and I was in a fasted state for 40 plus hours. They kept asking how I do it, and nobody believed me when I told them I had no food for 2 days. Bro, there's a magic that happens during a prolonged fast that no diet will ever get you to experience. No macro setup, no macro split will ever get you as high as doing like a 42 or 72 hour fast. Yeah, some people like to go longer than that. I'm personally not a fan of very long fasts because they interfere with my ability to perform at my job and physically. So, yeah, but this is a mental level up, brothers and sisters watching, that no diet can give you. It's a wonderful experience. Anyone should experience this. There's a reason why prophets in the Old Testament of the Bible fasted. There's a reason why Jesus fasted for 40 days. There's a reason why all religions incorporate some form of fasting. And it's not the main reason is not to lose belly fat, believe me. The reason is certainly not to get ripped. It's a mental tool, first and foremost, and people should experience this. So Derek says, He was sugar fasting for May, an entire month. That's crazy. That's crazy, Derek. But I love it. I mean, your results speak for themselves, and people can argue with you, Derek. People can say, no, you're going too hard. That's too radical. That's an eating disorder, Derek. But nobody can argue with results. Nobody can argue with the fact that in 1 month, you lost 22. And that's what it boils down to. That's what the sugar diet will do for a lot of. That's what intermittent and prolonged fasting did for a lot of people. That's what even a, a senseless diet like the carnivore diet did for a lot of people. It got them to lose weight, and that's number one. If we're talking health benefits of a diet, weight loss is number one. Fat loss is number one. Everything else is secondary. Now, again, there's better and worse approaches to doing this, but your objective, your prime objective, if you have a lot of extra weight on you, is to cut that weight, is to get rid of it. Alan says, brother, I have no problem with 48s and 72s, but I'm never satisfied when eating, which leads to overeating. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. And that happens when you employ the fasting, the prolonged fasting, at too high a frequency. That also happens, brother, when you're not eating enough on days where you're not fasting. So I've experienced that. I've experienced that plenty, even a couple months ago in January when I did alternate day fasting for 6 weeks straight. I experienced the very same thing. So I would eat huge meals to break my fast, and I would be full, but I would not be satisfied. But that's a dopamine, that's a hormonal and neurotransmitter thing more than nutritional. Way more than nutritional. So I would just tell you, if you're gonna experiment or if you're gonna do prolonged fasting as part of your weekly routine or part of your monthly routine, make sure you're eating enough on days where you're not fasting. And then cycle in and out these different strategies, like the fasting, like the sugar fasting. Perhaps do a 72-hour sugar fast where you actually allow yourself to eat fruit and simple carb sources for those 72 hours. Experiment. So Derek says he'll add starches and protein, so some heavier meals in June. That's amazing, brother. That is amazing. I love it. Again, results are the bottom line. I can argue with you. You can argue with me about this or that diet, but where are your results? Are you able to lose fat consistently on your diet? Are you able, if this is your goal, it certainly is for me, are you able to build muscle and get stronger in the gym on your diet? And lastly, perhaps most importantly, are you able to do this for life? Is this actually how you want to live your life? Now, for me, eating the way I'm eating right now, fruit throughout the day, one large meal, up to some days it's two larger meals, especially on weekends. It might be two full meals, higher in fat and higher in protein. Certainly not vegan. I know I can run this routine, run this program for the rest of my days, because I've already done it for 5 years straight without feeling the need or seeing the need to switch things up. It works so well. But those are the three questions you have to ask yourself. Am I getting those results on the scale? Fat loss. Am I getting leaner? If this is your goal, can I build muscle? Can I grow stronger? Can I perform better at whichever sport, whichever activity? But also psychologically, mentally, can I perform at a high level at my work? When I hang out with my friends, when I'm being social, Can I keep up with my own standards in terms of cognitive function, mood, energy, sharpness, focus? That's also very biological, very diet related, even though people think this is purely psychological. You can completely mess up your cognitive function with a crappy diet. And you can save yourself, you can save your mood, your energy. You can improve your mental focus and processing power with your diet tremendously. Make no mistake about that. And lastly, is this how you want to live your life? Because brothers, this is your life we're talking about. It's not just fat loss. This is your life we are talking about. Is this how you want to live the rest of your days? Is this how you want to eat the rest of your days? Only you can answer that. Only you can answer that. Derek says, your way of eating sounds very sensible. Brother Derek, it has to be sensible. Because if it's not, you will not be able to stick with it long term. If it's something that's so radical that only people in your dieting camp will understand and will applaud you for, you're not going to last. You're not going to be able to do this for the rest of your days. Now, sugar fasting, the way you're doing it right now, is certainly not something people can do for the rest of their days. But beautiful thing is, it's not necessary. You sugar fast until you cut all the excess fat, and then you move into a more sensible approach where for the bulk of the week you're actually eating normally. Yes, you're eating clean. Yes, you're eating healthy. Yes, you're eating mostly whole foods, but you're not afraid of macros. You're not afraid of fat. You're not afraid of protein. You're not afraid of slamming a pizza. You know, even yesterday somebody commented on my video saying fat is the enemy. Bro, fat is an essential macronutrient to the human machine. Essential, meaning you cannot survive without it. And you call it an enemy. It's so silly, bro, this dieting culture, how it's gotten us so far away from common sense. It's gotten us so illogical, so stupid, really, where we think of normal foods and normal parts of the human diet as the enemy. The enemy is your lack of self-control. The enemy is your lack of discipline. Andre says, for me personally, it worked by drinking half a liter of water with some lemon juice before I broke my fast. Then I was sure I wasn't eating over my maintenance. Okay, great tip. I appreciate the tip. Yeah, so basically fueling up with water. I will add to this fruit. Break your fast with a large serving of fruit. I learned this from Kyle Newell, the Panda Man. Check his stuff out on Instagram. He's big on fasting, and he's very, very smart and very, very reasonable. Very reasonable, which is also not common in the fitness industry. So he breaks his fasts. He eats one meal a day and does one 48-hour fast every week. And he breaks his fasts with fruit. Large bowl of fruit. Why? Because it's probably the healthiest thing you can break your fast with. And because this is something I learned from him, the volume of that, the fiber and the volume of the fruit stretches out your stomach. So already signals your body that a lot of food came in. So you no longer have the desire to splurge and to eat like a fat pig, which you're not going to have if you if you break your fast with very dense, with very fatty and rich foods, because they're low in volume. Okay, so the fiber and the volume of the fruit helps you reach satiety much faster. So you won't feel the need to eat 4,000, 5,000 calories once you break your fast and basically completely undo the, the benefits of the fast. Yes, Andre, this live will be saved. So you can watch this at any point. So a comment here is, I've noticed drinking about a liter of water upon waking, then eating a couple pieces of fruit 3 to 5 hours later, like a pear, banana, keeps me sustained until another 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, brother, that's my experience entirely. That's my experience entirely, and this is what's gonna lead to some friction with the sugar dieting um, community, because I never saw the benefit of just loading up on carbohydrates, not even healthy whole food carbohydrates like sugars throughout the day. I never felt better eating more fruit, more than, let's say, 3 4 pieces of fruit. If I get my 3 to 4 pieces of fruit in during the day, I feel amazing. I have limitless energy, limitless physical and mental performance capacity. So why would I eat more? You see, again, brings us to that warped vision we have of diets, and how people should eat and should follow certain diets. It's not about how you feel. It's not even about your own results anymore. It's just, oh, I gotta follow this dieting template. I gotta follow this dieting guru. Some people, like our brother here, like yours truly, will find that eating just a couple pieces of fruit is all it takes to get those benefits. All it takes to feel amazing every day, to perform at a high level every day. And then it will also give you the liberty to eat a more normal diet, more normal meals when you sit down to eat. This is especially important for old farts like myself who are already married, who are very involved in their family life, very involved in their social lives, and have to spend time with other people. I don't want to be the guy saying, I can't eat this, I can't eat that because I'm following this diet. I'm following the sugar diet. I'm following keto, following carnivore. What a what a pathetic way to live. Seriously, what a pathetic way to be the dieting guy. Always on a different diet, always on a new diet. It's ridiculous. I don't want to be that person for my family. I don't want to be that person around my people. So, one more thing I wanted to mention to go full circle here. You know, in Latin America where I live and have been residing for the last 5 years, people are big on keto here. When average Joe here, average Jose here in Ecuador thinks of cutting fat, losing some body fat, and getting in shape, they think of a low carb, they think of a ketogenic diet. It's huge here in Latin America. So I know a lot of people who are on the keto diet personally, not just via YouTube videos, not just via FaceTime or via the internet. I know them personally, a lot of people. Not one of those people is ripped. Not one of those people actually looks like they know what they're doing with their food. All the keto dieters I know and have met over the last 10 plus years have been somewhat soft. Soft. Yet, and here's the problem, it would never occur to them that their diet's not working. Because initially they might have lost 10 pounds, 15 pounds, maybe 20, 25 pounds on this diet. And that initial bump in weight loss has gotten them to think that this diet actually works. But the fact is, nobody really gets ripped on keto. Unless they're using some substances, I haven't seen it in the real world. People talk about it online, oh, I got ripped on keto, but I haven't seen it in the real world. So I don't believe it. I could never get ripped on a low carb diet. Not on keto, not on variations of keto in the intermittent fasting. I could never get truly chiseled. It was only when I incorporated pretty substantial amounts of carbohydrates that the body would let go of those additional, of those stubborn fatty deposits on the body, specifically my love handles and lower abdominal fat. So the last fat would only go, I could only get rid of it when I was incorporating carbohydrates into my diet. So that's why I'm heavily opposed to keto diets, to carnivore diets, because I know long term they don't work and people never get ripped on them and people can never sustain them for life. So a comment here is date is the miracle fruit. It contains fiber, all required minerals. Its glycemic index is very low. Brother, I agree. I love dates. I love dates. And where I grew up in Austria, we had a very large Muslim community. And so they would import a lot of dried figs and dates, and I love both. I think dried figs and dates are some of the best fruits, but not just fruits, bro. Best foods human beings can eat. I love them. But now I live in Latin America. And yes, you can get dates here, you can get figs here, but they're not the same. They're not the same. But I will tell you this, the tropical fruits here, the mangoes, the papayas, the pineapples, um, are out of this world. They're so good, they're so sweet, they're so delicious, and they leave you so satisfied. So, since I'm living here, I'll be eating my tropical fruits for the most part. I also love apples. I can also get great blueberries here, great berries in general, but mostly, bro, mostly I love my tropical fruits. But I agree, date is amazing, or dates are amazing. Alex says, 2 cups of coffee, train fasted, sauna, then break my fast with a big bowl of berries. Eat an apple later, then a king dinner. Working so far. Alex, that sounds pretty much like what I do. Very similar to what I do. Now, that big bowl of berries, again, depends on the size. I don't need that much fruit during the day to hold me over or to have me feeling a certain way. So, again, figure out how much you need to operate at your best and then stay with that. Do not fall for this mindset that you have to load up even more fruit, otherwise you're not on the sugar diet. Otherwise you're not doing it right. It's all about your results in the end. It's all about making this work for you, for your lifestyle, for your results, for your preferences. A question here. Whoa, this is a big one, brother. Andre is asking, do you think meditation and other self-improvement tactics, like being in touch with your body, helps someone get through eating disorders? Maybe. Maybe. Bro, this is a hard one. This is such a difficult one. I don't have enough experience and expertise on this to comfortably give you recommendations or suggestions. So I'll leave it. I don't meditate personally. I pray, I'm a God-fearing man. So I pray every day, multiple times a day. But, if you don't believe in God, if you don't walk with God, meditation might have some merit. I don't know. But eating disorders, again, I'm speculating here, so I don't even want to. I don't like talking about things that I have no experience with. That's why on my channel you don't see the trendy topics like the sugar diet. This is an exception because I have 5+ years of experience doing a variation of this. But for the most part, I don't talk about nutritional tactics. I don't talk about workouts. I don't talk about lifestyle habits or tactics that I don't have extensive experience with, because I would be doing the world a disservice. Which gets us again to this dieting, to this dogmatic um, culture where people read about some diets. They spend some time watching videos of other people talking about a diet, and they somehow think they're an expert. Like this guy who was on the live earlier. One day he's doing the keto or carnivore diet. Now he's an expert on sugar dieting. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't talk about things I don't have month or years of experience, of in the trenches experience. When I say in the trenches, it means I've done it personally, and I've walked other people through it as well. I don't just watch videos on YouTube or reels on Instagram, and then I start yapping about this diet or that diet. That's what makes this industry such a pain to be in, brother, because people are just yapping with no results, no experience, and no right to speak in the first place. Because if you don't have results, you have no speaking rights. Let's get this clear. So D said, "What happened to your lip? Did your wife give you a slap for burning dinner?" No, my brother. This is what do you call it? A blister? We call them fuegos here in Latin America. It's some like a herpes something. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I used to get these a lot when I was a kid. I used to get these a lot when I was like a teenager. Super annoying. Now I might get them like once every 2 years, every 3 years. Still annoying because it's somewhat painful, but no. My wife would never slap me, brother, because my wife and I, we have a very respect-based relationship. I would never touch her like that, and neither would she. So I love my wife to death. I respect her to death, and and it goes both ways. She would never touch me like that, and I would never, It's a cold sore. It's a cold sore. Be careful saying herpes. All right. It's a cold sore. There you go. Yeah. I mean, my English is not the best, even though I speak it every day. There's some words that I get and some expressions, especially that I sometimes get twisted. Like, yeah, herpes. We say, in German, we say Herpes. It's eine Fieberblase oder Herpes. But yeah, so I sometimes get my German, I get my Spanish, I get my Romanian, and my English mixed up. The perks of speaking four languages, sometimes you get it twisted. So Peter says, your English is very good. How long did it take you to learn English once you got here? Peter, I never lived in the States for 6 months. So I I never lived in England or in the United States or some other English speaking country for more than 6 months. I learned English because my parents got divorced when I was very young. I was born in Romania, Eastern Europe. My parents got divorced when I was very young, and I moved with my mom to live in Austria. And my dad and my older brother, they moved to the US. So in Austria, I learned German. I was speaking Romanian with my parents. I learned German because, I was living in Austria. I had to go to school there. So I picked up German real quick. And then I was speaking two language fluently. And then I would go and visit my dad in the US every summer. So I would spend my summers in the US, and that's where I picked up English. I would speak it every day, pick it up real fast. If you want to learn a language, go to that country. That's how I learned Spanish. I now speak fluent Spanish. It's not because I took some courses. It's not because I'm this whiz and I'm just so brilliant and picked it up so fast. I did pick up fast. It took me about 6 months to be able to converse effortlessly in Spanish. But it's because I moved here and I was immersed fully in the culture. I had to work at our foundation and I was talking to the kids all day. So it was either pick up the language and be able to speak with people or be an outcast and not be able to really enjoy this culture fully. Because it's not the same thing, bro, to travel to a country, travel to a different culture, and speak English with everybody. Yeah, you'll get by, but it's not the same thing. If you truly want to experience a country, a culture to the full, you got to learn their language, obviously. So, uh, total immersion, total immersion, brothers. If there's no questions, I'll go upstairs, spend the rest of my Sunday with my beautiful wife. So Andre says, talking about the cold sore, go to the pharmacy and ask for a special. Yeah. So he's talking about some remedies. Brother, I really don't care. I appreciate you looking out for me. I really don't care. Like I might get this once a year, once every other year. I don't care. I don't. Like I'm not so self-conscious that I can't, if I really cared, I wouldn't be filming myself with the cold sore. It means nothing to me. It's uncomfortable, but actually not anymore because it already burst open. It's uncomfortable once it pops out, but even then, bro, it's not even enough discomfort to get me to a pharmacy. So it is what it is, bro. But I do appreciate you looking out for me. Guys, have a great rest of your Sunday. I'm out. This live um, will be up at least for another couple weeks, and we'll stay in touch. Take care.